Good morning. Another beautiful day here in the UK. Whoop whoop. Launched the podcast yesterday. Masters Men podcast. Off to a good start, and I really appreciate all of those of you who've shared that content so far and shared my podcast with other men in your lives. If you haven't already, check out my profile or go to iTunes, or called it Shopify yesterday because I work a lot with e-commerce, Spotify. Head over there, Masters Men podcast, and check it out. So today I want to talk about the most powerful resource, if you like, the most powerful thing you have available to you in your life right now, and also the most unpowerful thing, the most trying to find a word for it, the most toxic thing you can actually have. I'm talking about the power of choice. Where you are in your life right now has been a succession of choices that you've made, small choices you've made, which inherently have led you to where you are in life. And in every single moment, and when you start to get this, you can really start to take back control of your life, is this idea that every day I have a choice. So if I stop and stand still, this is a choice I'm making. If I continue to walk, that is a choice I'm making. I'm making choices in every moment of every minute of every hour of every day. And those choices give me options. They give me opportunity. They give me power. Because I can make choices like, if I don't want to be in this relationship right now, I can choose not to be in that relationship. Is it going to be painful? Sure, probably is. But if you're making choices based off your intuition and what feels right for you and what feels aligned for you, then ultimately it's always going to be the right choice. Because if it was the wrong choice, or the choice that wasn't meant to be, then you wouldn't have made it. But you made it because something within you felt right. And let me tell you about the least powerful choice. We all make choices, and we all have to live with the choices we make. Like it or not. Like it or not. I've been listening to a lot of Tony Robbins, Gary Vee. I listen to a lot of their stuff, to be honest with you. And one of the biggest things I don't only see in my own life, and the thing that's really shifted for me, is this second most powerful thing that we have available to us. And that is something that we all do, guaranteed, and we punish ourselves and we overthink things as a result of it. And that is, drumroll, judgment. We judge the choices that we make, the decisions we make in life. I don't tend to use the word decision, or because it fits in with decide. When I decide to do something, that ties in with language like suicide, genocide, pesticide, very negative language. So I like to use the language of choice. But judgment is one of those things that we judge ourselves for. We make a choice, and that choice has to be the right choice. And if we don't make a choice, then nothing changes for us. But we have to know that the choices we make, if we make them from a place of, this is what my intuition is telling me, this is what I feel right now, we have to know it's the right choices. I make plenty of bad choices. But here's the big thing. And I did a really cool exercise, and I'll share it with you in a minute. I forgave myself. I forgave myself for making those choices. I didn't make them wrong. Because in that moment, with what I had available to me, that choice felt like the right choice. And I made it anyway. When we go to a sweet shop, we're quite often paralyzed by the amount of choice. I think it's called choice paradox. I think it's a cognitive bias that we have. And what happens quite often in the world we actually live in today is we're actually paralyzed by choice. So you've got two types of people. You've got the people who just don't make any choices, and they're overwhelmed and they're paralyzed by choice that's available to them in life. That might be the buffet of life, you might call it. And then you've got the people who make choices. You could say you've got three people really. You've got the people who don't make choices, who are overwhelmed, who are procrastinating, who are not moving forward with their life. You've got the people who do make choices and they move forward with their life. And then you've got the people who make choices and then hate themselves and judge themselves for actually making those choices, making them wrong, making them bad. But I'm here to tell you that we have to forgive the choices we've made, and that in itself is a choice that you have available to you right now. It's the choice to forgive yourself. All the things that you did wrong, or you didn't do by the book, or you didn't follow the system, or you didn't do it in a perfect way. In fact, you did it in an imperfect way, because you're perfectly imperfect, because you're a human being. And that's what we do. We're flawed, and when we're flawed, it allows us to connect and resonate with other people, because we connect through our imperfections. So there's a gift in that. So instead of judging yourself for what you've done wrong, ask yourself, what are the choices that I made that I did right? That actually helped me to create and become the person that I am today, good or bad? As much as we can focus on the negative, we can also focus on the positive. What are the powerful choices you made that brought you to this moment? I'm going to share a quick little exercise with you around forgiveness. So there's two types of forgiveness. There's the people you haven't forgiven for hurting you or doing something to you. And then there's the people, and then there's what you haven't forgiven yourself for. So I guarantee, if you were to look at your life right now, there are things in your life that you feel shit about. You've judged them, you've made them wrong, and you haven't forgiven yourself for them. So here's a little exercise that what you can do. Take a pen and paper, pulling out the pen and paper, and write down all of the things that you haven't forgiven yourself for. Just get them all, vomit it all out on a piece of paper. What haven't I forgiven myself for? Is it the time I had one too many pieces of chocolate when I knew I was meant to be on a diet? Is it that time I cheated on my wife? Is it that time where I was mean to my kids and I felt really bad about it? Is it that time where I made that decision in my work or my business and my business failed as a result? Is it that time when I masturbated in my mate's house, or I had sex with my partner in work? Whatever it is, get it all down on paper. And what you're going to then do is, over and over again, you're going to say, I forgive myself, I forgive myself, I forgive myself, I forgive myself, and really start to feel it. And what I recommend you do is breathe in, I forgive myself, breathe out. Breathe in, I forgive myself, breathe out. And what's going to happen is, at first it isn't going to really connect. But the more you do this, eventually, after maybe a few minutes, it's going to connect. And you're going to forgive yourself and let go of all of the shit that you've held on, that you've hated yourself, that you've judged yourself for. And when you choose to forgive yourself, you get access to space. And when there's space available without judgment, it gives you a space to actually create and the possibility of creating something more, something new. That negative energy that's been weighing you down for so long. Now there's more to it. What I now want you to do is, once it's connected, once it feels like, yeah, I do forgive myself, and it's okay, I did those things, they were just a choice, and they felt right at the time. I think there's also something that I need to mention here, is you make choices from two places. You make choices from a place of unconscious, and you make choices from a place of consciousness. So if I was going to take a guess, the choices that you've made that you are not happy with, that you judge yourself for, that feel very emotional and heavy and negative, they were probably unconscious choices you make. because you hadn't developed the awareness to be able to make conscious choices. And that's what I make every day. So if I stop here, just like before, I'm making a conscious choice to stop. I'm in control of it. And if I continue to move forward, that is a conscious choice that I make to move forward. So, exercise of forgiveness. Last part. What I want you to do is I want to take that ugly piece of paper with all of your sins, or whatever you want to call them, all the things that you now forgive yourself for, and I want you to fucking burn it. Burn that fucker. Or scrub it up, or flush it down the chain, or just get rid of it somehow. Let go of it. And what this symbolizes is the letting go of all of the negative emotions associated with all of those events that you've taken in your life. Give it a go. And what's going to happen is when you start to forgive yourself of all of the shit you haven't forgiven yourself, it creates space. And with space creates possibility. And that's when you can start to create anything that you really want in life. A better relationship, more fulfillment, more happiness, more confidence in yourself. And it's a super, super powerful exercise that I recommend everyone does. And here's one thing I do. Every day I forgive myself. Because I'm not perfect. I still judge myself. Oh, I made a decision yesterday and maybe it wasn't right. But I made the choice. I made a choice, and that was the best that was available to me. But the key is that the more you forgive yourself for the choices you make, and I do this every day, the less that's likely to build up over time and to lead to you feeling unhappy, unfulfilled, filled with regret and guilt. Instead, you're going to live a happier life because you're coming from this place of feeling free and empowered to create in your life, rather than feeling like you're restricted and you feel really tight and limited because of all of these emotions that are really holding you down. So the most powerful option you have available to you right now, most powerful resource we all have available to us right now, is the power of choice.